So I've just arrived at this beautiful location. It's there's some amazing rocky shores here, and the tides should be on the way out. So there's going to be hopefully some amazing foraging opportunities along here. Now I was tipped of this location because I was told by one of the people I met yesterday. It's amazing actually when you just meet local residents and they give you little tips and little ideas. So I have the couple that I met yesterday to thank for this. They directed me to this particular stretch of coast, which should hopefully have some either well, it's not going to be sea kale, it must be sea cabbage then, because there's no shingle down there. So there should be some sea cabbage somewhere around here, and if I can find some, then that's one of the amazing flavours that I really want from the coast in some of my meals. Last night I found a nice place to pull over just near a church. It was just a little bit of a graveyard, but it was right at the top of the cove that I was staying in and going for a little fish, and it's really nice and peaceful. But what was amazing was that when I woke up the next day and had a look around, it was just full of Alexanders. There was 3-cornered leek, so much to make a breakfast with. I didn't unfortunately catch anything yesterday, so that was a really nice breakfast. So without further ado, I'm going to have a little look around here. There's already loads in the verge just here. We've got loads of plantain still coming up here. We've even got a bit of yarrow hiding in there. Well, it's just amazing. We've got daisies, we've got sea thrift, and just a whole bunch of things to pick. And you've also got some sow thistle over there, so that would make a really nice salad. Right here in the wind we have some wild carrot just coming up. Amazing plant by the coast, and fortunately it's of course it's not that easy to dig up the roots, and you don't really want to. You need to have permission to be able to do that, but also the roots aren't very big compared to cultivated carrots, so it's not really. The roots are a nice delicacy if you can find a good one before they get too woody, but it's not something that I have really harvested a lot of. But there we go, we've got our wild carrots here, which tend to grow in environments like this by the coast. So I've got this little bit of scurvy grass here, and what I actually find is that I could gather a load of this, I could make it into a salad, but that takes extra steps, and whilst that's absolutely delicious and amazing to create, what I find, especially while I'm walking around here and when I'm walking around in general, you can just nibble them and eat them as you go along. Just nibble on the leaves and just feast of what nature's providing you out here without any extra processing. And it's not that easy to eat scurvy grass in a huge amount, but it's really good. Absolutely delicious. And you can just do this. You can just walk around, have a little graze, nibble and feast. And somewhere like here, it's perfectly clean, really clean. You don't have to wash it. And sometimes that's where the goodness comes from, when you don't wash the greens, because they have certain things on them that are beneficial to us. And I don't really wash my greens unless they're absolutely filthy, and in which case I usually only pick the clean ones. So I'm just very good at picking the best stuff while I'm out, so that there's less processing when I get home. But no, I'm going to continue having a look around and seeing what else we can harvest out here. And oh, look what I just found. A nice big juicy snail. Now I think you do have to purge these, but I'm wondering if I really would need to out here. There's nothing really poisonous that it could have eaten in this area. And yeah, but there's only one. If I can find a few more big ones, perhaps I can boil these up and have a nice meal out of them. But we are right next to the coast, so I'm probably going to get something a bit more delicious than snails. And the last time I tried these was when I was in France during a French trip in school, and that's a long time ago. We did have some snails like this that were boiled and mixed with garlic and some other things, and they are absolutely delicious. Now this is what I really come to the coast for, these bigger, more substantial greens. Now this is sea beet, which I have introduced before, but look at the size of this one. I'm going to be taking these tops back to the van and keeping them for later. Sea beet is actually a distant relative to chard and beetroot and things like that. This was the original plant that we would have harvested and possibly hybridized by breeding in certain ways, keeping different things and creating different products over time. But it still grows out here widely, freely, and I absolutely adore this plant. It's so rich in so much nutrition, just like the nettles and things like that. It is absolutely packed with goodness, and it grows everywhere by the coast. Along here is where all the goodness should be laying. There'll be rock pools and things. Maybe we'll catch something caught in a rock pool, but let's have a little look and see what's on the rocks. We do have lots of these. I can always gather these. We've got limpets in here, so that's kind of like my target. My main target is the limpets, and then I can always take some of these back with me. There's loads of periwinkles, so that would make some good eating. So the best way to get limpets off of the rocks is finding a decent rock about that size, so you can grip it nice and tough, and then you've got to surprise them. You've just got to go bang and boom, we've got our limpet, and that's all straight off the rock. I can take that back and have it for dinner. Now if they don't budge, don't whack them harder, because all you'll do is just crack the shells and harm them and kill them, and then you'll get shell bits all inside the flesh, and you don't want to do that. So just a quick sudden flick. If it doesn't budge, leave it. But wow, look at the size of some of these ones. They're amazing. Oh well, that rock just came apart. If the water is clean like it is here, the way that I like to process these is to just give it a little wash, and then you want to dig your finger in and force the limpet out of the shell. Oh, that one's a tough one. That didn't work. No, so yeah, you just got to force. You got to force all this part away until it comes out like that, and then you wash away all of that. You take out I just knocked it out as I was doing it a moment ago. I went straight through the foot. Now the bit that you want to eat is right here, and so you get rid of all the gut parts, the filtration parts, and you just give that a wash out. And once all of that has been removed, that part is good to eat. Here's the part that you do eat. And you just eat it like that. And as long as you clean the guts out of it, it won't be sandy, it won't be gritty. And it's actually a lot more tender that way. As long as the waters are clean, there's not been any sewage dumped out here, it's quite safe to eat them that way. And that's how I have done in the past. You do have to be careful because a lot of sewage has been dumped around the UK seas, which is something we have to be really aware of, unfortunately. I don't know how they get away with it, but they've been dumping raw sewage around the coast. Now thankfully the top part of Cornwall hasn't had really much dumped in it. I've been keeping an eye on it for a while, and so it's perfectly clean to pick the limpets from here and do this. So it's and if you do cook them, you could cook them, but if you do, they become very, very, very tough. So I find nice and raw, just opening them up and cleaning them on the beach and eating them here, I find is the best way to consume them, and they are absolutely delicious if you like crustaceans and shells and all of that stuff. Here is my lunch for today, and I've just been foraging some limpets which I've cleaned. I've got some scurvy grass, and what we're just going to do is to just put some scurvy grass on top of the limpets like that, because that mustardy hit will be really nice. So we'll do that, and then we've got a bit of rock samphire to go with it. There we go, a bit of rock samphire, and then we can just decorate with a tiny bit of sea thrift flowers. Those flavours come together really well. You've got the crunchiness of the limpet foot, and then you've got the sharp flavour from the scurvy grass, and then you have the aromatic carroty flavour from the rock samphire. That combination is amazing. I'm going to enjoy that. So this is my lunch on day 67 of the Wild Biome project. It is entirely foraged from my surroundings. I have had my lunch, and I think I'm going to start heading back to the car because I didn't find the thing I was hoping I'd find, the sea cabbage, but I'm sure it's somewhere on these cliffs. I just haven't gone far enough. I might carry on looking down and see if I find any and then head back, but we will see. But for now, I think it's time to head back to the van and check out the other spot where the wild garlic is. Now I know there's wild garlic there because I found pictures of the church that I was told about, and I saw lots and lots of things of wild garlic, so there should be seed heads at the very least that I can harvest and use as a delicious spice. I found what I'm looking for. It's in this amazing narrow road which was kind of quite tricky to navigate through. There were some very, very, very steep gradients coming down, but This is the perfect woodland environment for a lot of things. I already see garlic mustard growing here. I see common hogweed. So it's I'm going to probably forage my dinner from this wood. So I don't know if you can see, but my destination is down there. There's a really steep hill that I have to try and find the pathway for. But there's a church down here, and in there is where I was told there was loads of wild garlic. So let's see if it's still there and okay to harvest. Just a church hiding in this, down this very steep gradient. I wonder who actually comes here, or if it's still in use. But I already see the wild garlic. It's right here, look. And I'm sure there's more hiding somewhere else. So let's have a little look around and see what else is hiding here. Why, the gravestones are all hidden by all this undergrowth. But they go all the way over there. I've never seen a churchyard like this. The gravestones all the way up. It's just so wild and natural and overgrown. And then there's the church. Now, what I always admire about churches like this, these old places, is just how they shelter the outside world. It's just so silent in here, so quiet. There's something really nice about spaces like this. You can just hide away in silence and meditate, or come here to pray. There's a certain energy about places like this. You can kind of feel it in not just churches, other old buildings and things that have stood for years, and it's just amazing how your voice echoes through the chamber. But there's no one here, which is why I'm talking. But the tiniest noise will reverberate through the room. I've just been gathering the seed heads instead of the leaves, because the leaves are slightly far gone. I mean, they're still usable, but you just got it. But in this patch, the leaves are very caught under all the undergrowth and everything, and it's easier to just grab some of these stems, which the flavour is concentrated in these little unripe seed pods at the moment, and also you'll add some nice crunchy stems to add to whatever you're cooking. So that's what I'm going to grab for today. There's something I've not seen in a while, because it doesn't really grow up where I am. This is pennywort, or navel wort. It's a really nice, delicious, succulent plant. It tastes so good. So I'm looking forward to finding more of this whilst I'm down in Cornwall. Now there's a pleasant surprise. We have wood sorrel hiding in here. Now that is one amazing lemony appley flavour. Wow, I missed that.